Hi, we are the Gratitude Girls.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Laurie, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I was laughing when you said we're the Gratitude Girls because I remember last month we were Laurie Delk. Was that funny? I know, that was so funny. And I was going to play a joke on you today, and I was going to say, we are rah-rahs in the house. And I thought, wait, where's that opportunity? So I'm rah-rah, I'm in the house, I'm speaking to you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we really are here to have a good time and introduce you to our awesome guest and friend. But Laurie, let's talk a little bit about where you are. So I'm in Canada, and probably you're thinking, I'm in cold Canada, you know, it must be chilly there. We are having spring weather. I can see the grass. It's awesome. Tell me what's happening where you are.
I am in Nashville, Tennessee, and I can see the grass, but it's still kind of cool here. So,
I love to do the geography because at least every 14th or 16th show, I'm in another city living in another house, but we're still here. We're excited to be here. It's really amazing. We're going to be traveling soon. So this is what's up and coming for us. We will be together again. Maybe we can do a little impromptu thing. I know it won't be a Gratitude Girls show week, but I'm sure we can hook in live and do something real quick. But our whole goal is to travel the world together and see different places and people and interview people all over the world and speak and dance. And so that dream is coming true for both of us. And in how many days? Let's see. 5 weeks we'll be together.
yeah, less than 5 weeks, isn't it? Yeah, it's really close though.
That's right. It is really
The first
close.
week in April. Yeah.
So now that we both know that we'll be in the same city the night of the 3rd, I guess I could lure you over to my hotel. Or vice versa. Well, that's fun for us. Being together is just one of those things. We're here together, we're hanging out with everybody, and that makes it really easy for us to connect and stay connected to people all over the world. What I love about what's going to happen tonight is we have a story, obviously. Maybe our audience would like to know, okay, why are you traveling Gratitude Girls here tonight? Why are you talking to us? Why are you introducing your friend, associate, or this wonderful woman on the other end? I love listening to you tell the story, and I know you're going to bring it back to me eventually, but I'm going to get away with it as long as I can. Can you share with us, why are we here?
Sure, absolutely. Well, one, because we just love to talk and share with each other, right? And visit. And then two, because we love to travel all over the world. So, and speak at all different kinds of events and share gratitude with other people. But three, and kind of really the main reason, is that we both met on stage. So, in front of several thousand people, the CEO of our company, Catherine, and I both work for a greeting card and gifting company that teaches people how to share gratitude and send out kindness to the world. And so both of that is kind of our heart and soul. And way back in 2013, there was an award for the year. Each year, our company does a different award, and that year's theme was gratitude. And so out of several thousand people, Catherine won the award for gratitude. And our CEO announced it and called her up on stage. And I was busy, of course, taking pictures and taking video and everything. And for the first time in our company history, and I'm pretty sure it's never happened again either, that there was a tie, and our CEO actually decided to call up somebody else to win the gratitude award as well. And so that was me. And so Catherine and I actually met on stage. We never saw each other. Well, we might have saw each other, but we never met before on stage that day. And we just kind of walked off stage together. They sat us in a special spot together. And within like 3 minutes, Gratitude Girls was born. And we knew that we just had to do something special about it. And we've just become the best of friends and business partners and a whole lot of everything else since.
Yes, we have, Laurie. I remember that. I relive it every time you tell the story. I remember my knees are supposed to hold me up, and they really weren't doing such a good job. I felt like a little bit shaky, but I thought I have to keep that to myself. And then I saw you, and when I saw you, and we got to see each other as if there was no one else in the room, because Laurie and I got to look at each other, regardless of everybody that was there. I mean, thank God and thanks to Cody Bateman, we met. And I'm sure that was absolutely no accident. It happened because it was supposed to. And he's so insightful, because how do you know that someone's going to introduce you to your forever friend? How do you know that? One day you wake up and you are who you are, and 5 minutes or 3 hours later, you have someone in your life, as I have you in my life, and couldn't imagine and don't even remember what it was like before that. There's just, I was talking to someone tonight. I said, well, I'll be doing the Gratitude Girl show. And they said, wow, that is so amazing that you are both so committed. And I'm thinking, that's our life. There's no decision. It's who we are. And the great thing about it is we get to meet wonderful people. We get to attract people. And somehow the story of gratitude comes out. When I'm in the room, I hear a gratitude story. Maybe it's not exactly directed at me, but I can derive from the words that are said, there's a story there. So the other day I was talking to someone and I said, I don't know what you call it when someone is scouting out something specific. What do you call it? I'm from New York, so I call it headhunting talent. And they said, no, I think it's talent acquisition. I said, oh, you're just so kind. So through my lifestyle and through my good fortune, I've had the pleasure to meet our guest tonight. And our guest tonight deserves an hour at least, just for the introduction. But because of time, I would like to shorten this to the most heartfelt comment that I can give to someone. I met Charlene, and she completely wowed me. And I decided that no matter where I lived, I would continue to do everything possible to be in front of Charlene. Now, as life would have it, we sold our house and moved 112, 15 kilometers away, for which we are commuting to be in front of Charlene when she's in front of the room speaking to her tribe. I would like to introduce you to Charlene Norman, the woman who is an author, a writer, a speaker, a wife, a friend, a neighbor, and the person you truly need to meet. A co-owner and a founder of Bulletproof Your Life. Charlene Norman, I'd like to welcome you to tonight's show. And please correct me for anything that I might not have absolutely said perfectly about who you are.
Thank you so much, Ra. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Laurie. And thank you, Ra, for having me. Your energy is contagious. After an introduction like that, I think I'll slink into a corner somewhere. What am I supposed to say? It's a delight for me to be here this evening.
You know, Charlene, it's so nice to see you in your home environment too, because normally we get to see each other out. So you know someone for a year, we know each other for a little over a year, but yet we've never really had this much of an intimate setting, so to speak.
No, and the funny thing is, I was at your old house in St. Catharines, maybe I think 2 or 3 times. I never got to invite you into my new house in St. Catharines, and then you took off.
we have those hybrid wheels. We accept all kinds of invitations.
You drive down twice a month, and I'm very grateful for that.
Oh my gosh, we love being with you. Thank you so much for saying that. You have so many things and so many gifts to tell our audience. I'd like to start with painting a picture. So can you tell me a little bit about, you're in St. Catharines. Is this a hometown to you? Is this a new place? Is this a new life? Why are you there? Why are you in the Niagara region of Ontario, Canada?
I left the GTA area after 30 years for a whole new start. I've only been here 2 years. Why am I here? I had a health scare. We decided, my husband and I decided just to pick things up and start completely new. I chose Niagara because I always loved, I think it's the most beautiful spot in Ontario. I think it's the best place to live. And honestly, I wanted to try every single wine in every single winery down here. That's on my bucket list. And there's a lot of wineries down here, believe me.
There are. You need to live there. That way you don't have to drive too much, right?
Yes, that's true.
Well, you lived in the GTA for 30 years. So in the terminology that I learned when I lived in Niagara, that would mean that I was a transplant, that because we were transplanted from Toronto or wherever to, so living in St. Catharines, Ontario, what is it like to be 2 years in a new town? I mean, obviously you're maybe new to St. Catharines, but not new to business and orientating yourself and networking. But what is it like to be in a new town, starting out as the new girl on the block? And then I want to get into business. That'll be my next question. What's it like to start over at the ripe age of whatever you are? The age is not important, but that you decided we're starting a new life. So what's that like for our audience who's listening and thinking, I would love to start over?
You know what? I was really dumb. I knew that I was starting over. And this is the piece, you know, we're all really, really good at solving everybody else's problems, and we're so bad at solving our own, right? So I figured, okay, I had my own business for 10 years in the GTA area. I'll just pick it up. I'll move it an hour west of Toronto. No big deal. New kid on the block. I don't know anybody in a whole new town. I go from a town of 800,000 down to a town of 100,000-ish. Don't know a soul. Oh, no big deal. Right. Now I didn't think. That's the thing. I didn't think. I just jumped. So after about, we had to renovate the house and do all that, and then no big deal. They tell me I'm a naturally outgoing, naturally friendly, blah, blah, blah. So I just say hi to everybody. I'm very friendly with everybody. And I learned a long time ago, never go on about what you used to do. Never go on about yourself. So people talk to me and I listen. Other immigrants or transplants from Toronto said how difficult it was to get known in town or make friends, and I never had a problem. People seemed to like me, but I never talked about what I used to do, and I never talked about myself. But I had a little bit of a problem trying to get my business kicking into gear till I met a woman who had been here for 19 years. We were having lunch one day and she said, "Oh, you're starting over." Yeah? "Oh yeah, don't worry. What are you doing?" And I went through my list. She said, "Oh, don't worry. You're doing everything right. You'll be fine." And I realized I was 20 again. And when you're 20 and you don't know anything, you'll do everything. Because when you're 20, you have lots of energy and you're totally fearless. And the world is an oyster because you haven't been beaten up. So you'll try anything. And when we were 20, we didn't have the internet. We didn't Google anything. We just picked up a phone. We hit people between the eyes. And I realized I had forgotten a whole pile of stuff. I'd forgotten what it was like to be young and full of energy. And I thought, oh my God, I moved to a new town and I forgot, or I didn't think. And all of a sudden, okay, so I lost a little bit of energy over time. Not as much as some people, but I did lose a little bit of energy. And all of a sudden I thought, that's all I have to do. I just have to kick it up an extra notch. A lot of people, so when you say, well, what did you do? My passion is business. So I was smart enough to start a couple of networking groups, which people don't do down here. So I had gotten out to meet people. I met all my neighbors and we became the social hub in the neighborhood. And I became a bit of a hub in the business side, but it was getting the clients to trust me and realize that, yeah, I was the different chick but I did know my stuff and everything. And then the money started to come in and slowly, and my plans, which are always go from 0 to 100 in very short time frame. I started talking to the other immigrants from Toronto, and they were getting really pissed with me because they were having a hard time. And I'd say, well, wait a minute. We're starting over. We don't know anybody. And you don't tell people what to do because it's a whole new city and they have opinions and they're not stupid and they have a different outlook. And anyways, so I have never, ever in my entire life ever met an incompetent person. Never. I've met people in wrong jobs. I've met angry people. I've met unhappy people. I've met beaten up people. But I've never ever met anyone who deliberately started the day and said, I'm going to screw somebody. I'm going to be miserable with them. And I'm going to give them the worst possible performance I possibly can give. I've never met anybody who ever said, I'm going to be nasty to anybody. They got that way because something happened to them that day, but just that day for that little bit of a minute. The same thing happens down here. So if you just give everybody a chance, you're not always right, and give them the benefit of the doubt, it's amazing what comes back.
So Charlene, are you saying that when you start to go into a new town, you need to assess the situation of that neighborhood and those people and listen to what they're saying, what their pulse is, so that you can integrate?
Assess yourself. That's the most important thing. Turn off yourself. You're not important. They're important. Let them show you the way. Yes, it's going to drive you nuts. Yes, it is. But they know more than you do. After a year, you'll have figured it out. And then you can say, okay, fine, enough. But assess yourself first.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, for our audience who's listening and someone who's saying, well, I'm going to be moving, I'm relocating, I'm selling my house, I'm selling my condo, I fell in love, period, I'm flying. They're doing something new. What is your advice? And I'd like to bring it into your business so you can talk a little bit more about your passion. What would you say, what would your advice be to a couple, a family, someone who's moving with someone as you did? What are some of the keys to doing that successfully? Did you and your husband discuss things? Did you just pull names and things out of a hat? What did you do? Did you walk the streets? Like, how did you come up with a plan for yourself so that you could stand the changes, enjoy the changes, embrace them?
I'm married to the most wonderful man on earth. Your husband is the second most wonderful man on the earth.
Thank you.
We have excellent communication. We talk back and forth. So we didn't make this decision lightly. We had spent several years going back and forth to this particular region as a holiday. So we knew what we were getting into in terms of the region. We both liked it. We both didn't want to stay in a big city. We are both from very small towns, and we were tired of the commute. And we just said, you know, this is enough. We're also at that age where we had done our thing. Also, like most happy marriages, one person is the one who makes most of the decisions, and the other person generally says yes dear, no dear, whatever, and it can be either one. That's usually how most successful marriages work. You do make the decision together, though. You seriously do. And you both know that it's the right thing to do. How do you come up with a time? Usually either an event happens in the family, or you just pick a date on the calendar.
Good.
Seriously.
Good information. So now let's talk about this in relation to your passion. You said you like business. So you came into a new town, you realized you were assessing yourself, you realized that there were people are people, but there were some differences in the region, and you have a business. Can you tell us a little bit about what does it mean? What's Bulletproof? Is it a movie? Is it a TV series? Tell us about Bulletproof.
I help frustrated entrepreneurs make more. Make more money. Some people tell me they don't want to make money. Really? Okay, fine. Maybe they want more customers. Maybe they want more profitability. Maybe they want more market share. Maybe they want more anything. I don't care. You have to be frustrated to work with me because you've tried everything else and you can't figure it out. And you just throw up your hands and you say, I'm willing to work with somebody who only knows how to make money. I'm very boring. I have a track record for taking something from nothing to something, whether it's sales, whether it's expenses, whether it's people, whatever it is. But most of my clients, they've tried it themselves. They couldn't do it. They could only go part way. If you want to be successful, you need a mentor. You need a helper. We all do. So that's what and it doesn't really matter what kind of industry it is. I prefer not to deal with franchises because they have their own systems, but manufacturing, services, retail, whatever. If you want help, I can help you. I paid a lot of money years and years ago for someone to say, they listened to what I was talking about and they said, you just bulletproof companies. And I said, yeah, I do. I make them stronger so that they're totally invincible. So that's how I came up with the name.
Okay, so the name of your company for our audience, in case they want to know a little bit about you, is called Bulletproof Your Business.
Bulletproof Your Business Now. And you can find it at www.bulletproofyourbusinessnow.com.
And I know that you are an author. So would you like to tell us, so is Laurie, as a matter of fact, and I'm sure you'll have some questions. Laurie will have some questions for you. Can you tell me a little bit about how did you become an author? What possessed you? What inspired you? What made you go ahead and write a book?
Oh, I was dumb. You know, we all do. I think we have our brilliant ideas when we're the dumbest. I really do. So when I was 35, 36 or something, I had my first entrepreneurial venture. And so I had all this education and success and everything. So I thought, oh, well, how difficult can it be to start your own company? So I did. And I had no contacts and no experience and no nothing. And so I brought a product line. Yeah, a product line, which I knew nothing about. I brought it to market and got it to break even. And those were pretty amazing accomplishments in their day, in a pretty very short time frame in their day. And then I thought, well, you know, I don't really know much. And I got all this education and I see all these people with no education and they're bringing it to market and they're having a hell of a time. So maybe if I wrote a book, I could help them. So anyway, it took me a long time to write this book because I decided I didn't know enough. I'm going to go back and get some experience. So I combined about 25 years of experience into this book to help entrepreneurs get a good start. And then I got dumb again. I finished the book and I thought, oh, I give it 35,000 words, 215 pages or something. I need to get a return on this. Okay, I'll go sell it. But I really didn't know what I was doing. Again, not very bright. And then I found out that I didn't really want to work with them. I really wanted to work with the people who had tried it and then had some success, but hadn't really got the success that they wanted. So now I just say to the ones that are starting, here's my book, here's my courses, go take them. It'll tell you everything, but I don't have the patience for them. You know, we got to make so many mistakes before we learn what we're good at.
Well, Laurie,
I'm now writing in the book I really want to write, which is how to survive and thrive in the next decade. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through there. And that's the one that really I want to get. And that's probably, that'll probably be about 50 or 60,000 words.
and that's the working title, How to Survive and Thrive in the Next Decade?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, Laurie, I know Laurie's an author, a published author. Laurie, I'm sure you have some questions for Charlene, and I thank you for allowing me to have the floor for so long. If you'd like to ask Charlene some questions, please do.
Yes. So, Charlene, when you wrote your book, so somebody that you said that you help anybody kind of in any type of business. So what type of people are like the perfect candidates for getting your book and then also possibly hiring you to work with them?
The perfect candidates for my book is anyone who's got a wacky idea and has no idea about really starting their business, or is stuck in the thing of the first 8 years and is really struggling with why is this really not working, and they haven't really identified who their client is. So that's the perfect folks for the book and the course. The perfect client for me is anyone over the age of 35 or 40. And the reason I say that is because I'm looking for my ideal clients already got a few nicks and battle scars on their back. They've got lots of bruises already. And I find you don't have enough bruises until you're at least 35 or 40. They've probably struggled for a fair amount. They've probably, if they've made any money, it's not a lot. They've probably had some years where they've already been in the red, or they want to take their business up several notches. The last group would be the ones that are ready to sell. And the only reason I say that is because in my background somewhere, I've only bought 60, sold 10, changed the culture of 5, improved 25, and taken 1 through bankruptcy. So I can probably take a little bit out of all of that and say, yep, I can help you.
Awesome. So tell me one gratitude story that you have of something personally or professionally where you're just, you're thankful for that situation or that happening in your life.
I'm alive. Seriously, this week is my 3rd anniversary from nearly dying and from recovering from 2 strokes. My doctors tell me that I am the recipient, I guess, I don't know, of some kind of medical miracle. Most people do not recover from what I did or what happened to me 3 years ago. I am so happy, so thankful that I survived it. I am 95% of what I used to be, where most people are apparently only about 55%. I have so much energy and there are so many things that I want to accomplish. I'm just over the moon that I'm still living. I stand on the right side of the grass every single day. How's that for gratitude?
That is awesome. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, that is, Charlene, that is an amazing, amazing. See, you're a miracle in itself, you by yourself. So when you speak to people, you can speak to them from that perspective. You know what it feels like. Now, I would like to give you an opportunity, if that seems, maybe that's a bold statement, but you might have a question or a statement that you want to share with our audience. I'd like to give the floor to you to give us your perspective, or ask Laurie or I a question. And you can pick the subject, obviously. This is unrehearsed, and we would be happy to answer you by giving you the floor.
I do have a question, and it relates to the old-fashioned thing that everyone seems to worry about these days, and I think it's, my personal thing is, I think it's a little bit silly. There's always this big question about, well, what are you going to say, you know, when you're on your deathbed, or what are you going to worry about on your deathbed, and all that business. And I think that's actually not important. I think the more important thing that we should be thinking about, imagine yourself today, and this is what I want to ask you. Imagine yourself today, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 20. What is it that you would give to yourself, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 20, knowing what you know today? What is the advice that you would give your younger self today?
Laurie, would you like to answer first?
Probably not.
Okay, it's up to you. I'll take your lead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So I can remember when I was 20, Charlene. So I guess you want me to go back to when I'm 20. I'll just kind of recap what you're asking me so that I answer what you want. And so I'm 20 years old. And when I was 20 before, I can look back and remember what I did. But knowing what I know now, I now become a 20-year-old saying, what advice would I give myself, knowing where my head was at when I was 20?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just put a little background to that. So when I was 20, one of my major passions was real estate, and still is. And it was to acquire and buy and sell real estate. One of the things that I love to do next to dancing. So I think if I understand what you are saying, is my advice would be to follow. Never fear. I took my own advice. Follow, never fear, and never worry about how I was going to do it, but do it. Now, back that up with some concrete a story here. I bought my first house at the age of 20. So funny you would pick that. At the age of 20, I received a $500 engagement gift from one person. And that one person said, you know, here's this gift, here's this check, and with this, I'd like you to go buy your first house. Now, when I was 20, which was almost 40 years ago, $500 was a lot of money, but I now had to fathom this $500 into a house. And I did exactly what the intent of that check was meant for. I went and I put it down as a deposit, and I bought my first house at 20. So now knowing what I did for the last 40 years, that was the beginning of the tipping point for me. I took the intention, I listened to what that person said to me, and I took it to heart because it's exactly what I wanted to do. And from there on in, every time I was diving into a piece of real estate, I never really worried about how. I just knew it was that. I manifested it. I found it. I invented it. I built it. I somehow contrived it. I drove down the street and it just popped up. It sprouted. So my advice would be that. Exactly. maybe we can, put that into 2 words, 3 words, go for it. Hope I answered your question.
You did. You absolutely did. Thank you, darling.
I should have went first because yours was so much better. So, let's see. I've had a really good life, really pretty happy with my life. So, and I've made some really good decisions. When I was 20, I was actually, right, going from 20 into 21, I was actually pregnant with my 2nd child and getting ready to leave my corporate career as an accountant to work from home and be that stay-at-home / work from home mom. And at the same time, I was losing 100% of my income, and my husband was losing 50% of his income, leaving his career to go follow his passion of becoming a police officer. And so that was going to lose 50% of his income. And then we were having a 2nd baby. And so do the math there. But the same thing, we're young, we're in our 20s, and we can do anything, right? But one thing I guess that I would tell my younger self is to, a lot of women like that security, not only the financial security, but the emotional security, the spiritual security, just knowing that, my husband was a bodybuilder and, I loved to lay on his shoulders and on his muscles and feel that secure, strength around. And I have both my boys live here now. My 23-year-old's a bodybuilder, and my 21-year-old, or my 17-year-old, make him big quick. My 17-year-old does karate. So they both have lots of muscles, and I love having that strength and security around. But also in that, I would say that later in life, because I was so blessed with so many things, and my parents taught me to work and to work hard, and both my parents are entrepreneurs and own their own businesses, and so that was kind of indwelled in me. And but through some different things later in life, I learned more of how much the relationships are important in life. And so my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she worked from home. So she was there for us all my life growing up. So I had that wonderful experience of, I was never in daycare. I was never at a babysitter's, and I was able to do that for my children also. And, but, through some different things though, I realized, how much important those friendships and family and just relationships are in your life, to take the time to cherish those. And, being busy is great. And one of my mom's favorite sayings was, if you're awake, you are to be productive and profitable. She didn't allow laziness in our house. When I was in school, I went to school and I was in band, I was in ballet and jazz and tap and dance class and gymnastics. And when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader. I was in school full time, and I worked 2 full-time jobs. And then I owned my own business by the time I was 17. And by the time I was 19, I was flying to Bahamas because I was the #1 custom blind seller in the entire United States. So, so I definitely wasn't raised lazy at all, but I also didn't, I don't think, cherish those meanings of relationships. Like I always spent time with family and friends and things like that, but they didn't mean as much to me as, they do now, through things that have happened and through 7 major losses the last 6 years that has made me realize, take the time, just take the time and just be. And, you know, the work's still going to be there, and, you know, just get over it and take the time and spend that quality time with people that, that aren't always begging for your attention.
Wow. That's a lot. Thank you, Laurie.
Yes, Laurie, thank you. That is definitely great. I'm glad I didn't have to follow your act. I'm so glad I went first. You know, it's so wonderful to have, and thank you, Charlene, for that question, because you brought us back to a specific point in time. Like, you didn't say 6, you said 20. We could remember 20. You know, you didn't pick 18 or 17, or 20 was a very distinct year for me. So thank you for that. And the question is very important because you allowed us to have our mind go right to that time and relive it, recap it, and then give the information and bring it back. That's an awesome question. I totally love it. And Laurie did ask you before about it, someone that you're grateful for, or gratitude story. I'd like to give you this scene. Just, I'll paint the picture for you. If there was someone in your life right now that you could say something to, because maybe you had forgotten, or you said it 100 times and you wanted to say it 101, or, you know, or you had never said it, or you just thought of it right now on the spot. There was someone that you could say something to. Who would it be, and what would you say?
Honestly, I'm the type of person, I tell everybody exactly how I feel, and there is no one that I have not told that I don't love them. There is no one that I have not told that they don't mean the most to me. There is no one that I have not shared something important with. I could die tomorrow and I would have absolutely no regrets, Rara. Everyone knows exactly where they stand with me.
That's a commitment on your part. That's wonderful, Charlene, because anybody who watches the show will say, yes, Charlene told me exactly how she feels. And that's what we'll get from you, right? We'll get it like it is. You'll tell it like it is. You tell it on the spot, right at the moment, correct?
Oh,
always.
Yes.
Good. That's amazing. If there is anything else that you'd like to say to us or to someone on the show, I don't like looking at the time, but I have to look at the time. So I'd like to say, if there's something else you'd like to say, please take this opportunity to do that. And then Laurie and I would like to thank you for all that you've done tonight and the time you've spent with us. So is there something else on your mind, something you'd like to tell our audience about yourself?
The only thing that I'll share is I believe, and I share this with all my clients, I share this with all my friends, we have the answers inside of us at all times. We can't always get them out, but we have always got the answers inside of us. And you proved it to me tonight, because I asked you something that is, you gave me universal answers, both of you did. When I was 20, I was extreme, I think, based on the way we look at the world today, I would have been a Ritalin kid. I know that I drove people nuts. So the advice I would have given myself would be relax, because everything is going to be so freaking amazing, woman. But I want to share with you what you have told all the audiences tonight. The wisdom that you two ladies gave everybody was, take the time and just be. Relationships really matter. Security takes care of itself. Follow, never fear. Never worry, go for it. Relax and enjoy it. And for that, ladies, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Charlene Norman, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how do you recommend they do that? What is the social media or the quickest way or the way that you prefer?
You can contact me through my website, www.bulletproofyourbusinessnow.com. You can email me, char@charlenenorman.com. You can also find me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and God knows where else on social media.
Okay, that's great. And actually, they can find you on Meetup too, right?
Oh, yes, and Meetup too. Yes, if you're in the Niagara region, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, thank you so much, Charlene Norman. This is a wonderful show when we feel like just there isn't enough time, obviously, because so many other things we can touch on. But it's so nice to sit in your kitchen, to see your home. I feel one step closer to you, so I appreciate that. Laurie, thank you. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome to come here to us when you're driving out this way. And if ever you're in the Tennessee area, we have an invitation, I'm sure, to follow up with Laurie directly in her hometown, which is something I have on the map. So Laurie, let me ask you a question. There's an audience, somebody's watching, they're like, I want to be Charlene, I want to talk to her, or I want to speak to Laurie or Catherine. How does someone look at your dog? How does someone get onto our show? And how does someone book that, schedule it, and then get to talk about their passion like Charlene just did? Can you tell our audience, or you and your puppy tell our audience how to do that?
Yes, always have invitations, right? So yes, find us. Our website is gratitudegirls.com, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/gratitudegirls. Go there and hit to send us a message and share with us your gratitude story. When you send it to us there on our Facebook page, Catherine and I both read it, we both review it, and then we get back with you with our calendar of where we can put you on our calendar and help you share your gratitude with the world.
That's awesome. Now, Laurie, I don't know if you know this, but the next time we have our show, I will be another year older in a new twilight decade. So expect wonderful things to come out of my mouth, because I hear that every decade there's some infusion of experience and wisdom. I'm expecting it to just be all around me in my aura. So if you don't recognize me, it's because I will have that wonderful aura of wisdom around me.
Well, this will be the year for Gratitude Girls then, right? Because I will have that same scenario come September. So
okay, so this is a milestone for both of us. We get to share this with all of our audience. Well, I won't go into the exact details about the birthday, but I will say this. I'm looking forward to every single one of them, because each one just keeps getting better. And I thank you so much for you and your time and your gifts tonight. It's always hard to say goodbye or to say goodnight, but you know what comes into my mind? I guess I was watching that show, Carol Burnett. Remember at the end of the show, she used to do this. So do you know what that was about? She used to say goodnight to her grandmother by pulling her ear, and I used to remember that and say, what a nice way to say goodnight. And I like to say goodnight by doing this. So just to let you know, my heart to yours and to our audience, thank you so much for tonight. I really am looking forward to seeing you personally and to hearing from our audience. Charlene Norman, thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful hangout and an interview and a show. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when I'm in St. Catharines.
Thank you, Darla.
Awesome. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And get with us the fourth Tuesday night of every single month, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific. Good night.
Good night.